this?
You are watching the Leaf and Ash podcast with Panda, PC, Dawn, and Mutt. We sip and smoke. We sip and smoke.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. And do we have a show and recap for you? Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Sip and Smoke on the Leaf and Ash podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Panda, along with my three compadres as always. Let's start with the big dog on the top left. What's going on, Silverback?
Man, what's going on, baby? Glad to be back. How y'all doing today?
Oh, I'm still recovering.
Mm-hmm.
On the top right, as always, is the Cigar Don. What's going on, Donnie boy?
What's going on, guys? Happy Monday, everybody.
Oh, yes, sir. And on the bottom right, as always, the one finger pecker sensation wearing his cigar porn hat. Yes, sir. Is no other than JJ, aka Cigar Mutt. What up, dog?
How you doing?
How you doing? Well, guys, as you can see a caption, this is going to be the recap of the Leaf and Ash podcast 2025, the Great Smoke event that we all went to. But before we get to that, this is one of our sip and smoke segments. Let's find out what everybody's sipping on, what everybody's smoking. PC, what you sipping on, what you smoking?
Well, tonight I'm gonna take it easy. Just for you guys' sake, I'm gonna stick to my Powerade tonight, and I'm smoking on the New World Dorado.
Dorado, good steak, very good steak.
Yes, sir.
What are you smoking on, Donnie boy? What you sipping on?
So I'm sipping on an old fashioned as normal. Got to the end of that bottle though. That was a little hard on the heart there, but I'm smoking on the Aganorsa Supreme Leaf.
How about you, Mutt? What you sipping on? What you smoking?
I am drinking some Basil Hayden, the dark rye small batch.
Nice.
And I pulled out this beautiful.
What?
Hey.
Nice.
Hey.
The discontinued West Tampa Balachi Boulevard.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
get to that stick in a moment. And as you guys know, the Panda's been under the weather for a hot minute. And
Typhoid Marvin over there.
yeah, the Panda has been suffering. This is the Panda's first stick in just over a week. Okay, and I'm smoking the Camacho pre-embargo that was gifted to me by the Don. And
Beautiful.
And I'm having, you know what? Because I need to 1792. Just saying.
Nice.
Just saying.
Little natural cough syrup there.
You know what? I'm telling you, the Panda has been taking all sorts of meds, steroids for medication, not steroids to get pumped.
I don't know. That forearm's looking pretty pumped up.
Yeah. That's for other reasons, but we'll talk about that on another episode. So anyway, guys, 2025, the Great Smoke. It was your guys' first time going to, especially that event. I don't know if you guys ever been to any type of event like that. I have been going to the Great Smoke for years, and it seems that Abe always seems to find a way to elevate it, and this year was no different. This year was the year of the Renaissance. I kind of want to get you guys' take, but I want to talk about before we did the Great Smoke, the events that happened prior to. And we're going to start off with the smoking, bourbon tasting with Terrence Riley that PC and the Mutt got to go and experience. Unfortunately, me and Don were not able to get 2 tickets. I ended up getting the last 2 tickets, and I tried to get 4. It didn't work out. But what was your experience? Because it was, I believe, Yellowstone, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
what was your I mean, JJ, I mean, I want to start off with you because, you know, you come from a small town. You came out here once again to South Florida. And what was your experience when you got, because we're going to talk about that Thursday, okay, and your man crush and everything. But we'll get to that, you know, as we get there. But so how was the bourbon tasting? And how was meeting Terrence Riley face to face?
Oh, Terrence Riley, he's the GOAT. I'm gonna tell you that right now. He's I didn't realize he was like 7 foot tall, but now it makes sense to, you know, why everybody looked like they're 6 years old and they stand next to him. But no, he's just an all out guy, and just he's a talker, and the knowledge that he was putting on us over the fumas about, you know, trying to teach people about how to taste a cigar, and that you need to retro hell if you want the full experience of especially their cigars. Because I believe it was the Criollo 98, they say, is in every cigar they make.
Mm-hmm.
If you smoke any of their cigars, that's in it. And just, you know, the Yellowstone, their talker, he was great. Very entertaining. And Yellowstone, it makes a pretty damn good bourbon.
And you guys kept on saying, because I have a bottle of Yellowstone here, and I wasn't a fan of it, but I didn't realize that they had such a core line.
Yes.
Right.
You know, because you guys tried what, 6 or 7 different Yellowstones?
Yeah, they gave us this at the end, and that was our 6th tasting. Well, I don't know whose hands were filling them glasses, but that was like a faint half pour. I'm not telling you, I was damn near drunk by the end of it.
Well, I mean, one of them was what, 119 proof or something
Yes.
like that, 117. It was crazy.
And every one of them was over at least 100 proof. And then we smoked that was the Rare Leaf Corojo with all of that bourbon, and it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
And that's because they also gave you guys some puros too, right? Some
I kept them.
nice.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I told you, that's something that'd be great, especially now that, you know, you have all that machinery. If you're able to do an etch, the Aganosa, you know, thing on the background and put in a shadow box, that would look so badass, right?
Yes.
With the tobacco around it, you know, get a big enough freaking box, you know.
Mhm.
But PC, what was your experience down there? I mean, you're like me. I mean, you're in Atlanta, you know. I mean, you're in Georgia, so you have lounges and you have events. I mean,
Right.
tell me about that one.
Well, the wine taste, I mean, the bourbon tasting, I'm sorry, was, was one of those things that was really off the charts for me. And like JJ said, by the time we finished, man, I was 3 sheets in the wind, and I didn't think I was going to get there. But the kicker for me with the bourbon, as we went down each one of them, we were reading all the ingredients, and we're smoking was this was it a Corojo, right, JJ?
Yep.
And the pairing with the Corojo and the bourbon was, man, off the charts. And on top of that, we had a great speaker at the same time, because this guy, he was just so damn down to earth, man. It was ridiculous. So you didn't feel that pressure that you had to overdo it or underdo it, or just sit in the corner like a bump on the log. Got a chance to see how Terrence Raleigh, expressed himself professionally and, as a person outside of his job at the same time. So that was really cool. Got a chance to take pictures of JJ and Terrence Raleigh in the background to see his face lit up like the moon, man. And, that was really crazy for me at the same time. And it was just an experience. You know what I say? It's all about the experience. We had, JJ and myself had experience thanks to you, man.
Yeah,
I can tell you this, guys. So I knew they were both lit. I was like, I got to go get this guy's food, man. I mean, I listen, man. PC look black and knees. You know what I mean? That man, he was like, man, I'm telling you, that man looks so Chinese, man. It was. I'm like, yo, you good? He's like, I'm like, oh, it's like that. I said, okay. So, and it's so funny. So, so as these guys are doing their thing, me and Don, we're just relaxing in the lounge, and we had grabbed some chairs, right? And then we realized people started showing up, and we're like, man, we try to save these 2 guys their chairs, and we're like, it's not gonna happen. And Don was like, hey, Panda, let's grab this table before it gets crazy. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? Let's grab the table. So we grab a table, and all of a sudden these guys come in and we're talking. They're talking about their experience, and I'm like, I see somebody go into the humidor.
Well, Panda, before you get there,
Mm.
I would. So while they're still out at the whiskey tasting, all of a sudden Panda goes, "Hey Don, I'll be right back," and he goes outside and starts videoing. These guys had zero clue that he was even
Oh,
around.
that's right. Yeah.
He's taking video of them, just and they're doing they got their pinkies up, tasting this whiskey. They're doing their thing. But I also wanted to say, thanks to you guys too for the swag. I'm a big accessory guy. I love the swag. So they brought me this cutter from Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Check this thing out.
Yes, sir.
So that was kind of cool. Like Panda said, we could only get 2 tickets, and I can't drink like that. So we figured JJ and PC would be the ones to enjoy it the most. But yeah, Panda, I'll be right back. He came back in. He was laughing. He's like, these guys didn't even know I was
These
there.
guys, I'm watching, I'm videoing, I'm doing a zoom in. You guys will get to see all of that.
Mhm.
But we had a blast, right? I mean, that Thursday was the kickoff. Yeah, what do you guys say?
I do not give you consent to show this video.
Wow. Well, guys,
No, it's all good, baby.
you heard it. Now, I'm just so excited about this portion, right? So I'm looking around, and also I see someone walk into the humidor smoking. I'm like, I gotta take advantage of this, right? So I shoot out there, and I run into this guy, right? Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find this real quick. Yeah, so I run into this guy. You guys see who that is? That is JJ's man crush.
Hey,
That's Nick Melillo from Foundation. I run into him in the humidor alone, and I'm like, Nick, how you doing? I introduce myself, and he looks at me. We're all wearing like JJ got our Leaf and Nash podcast shirt, right? And funny enough, he's like, man, I know I heard of you guys. We kind of chopped it up for a few minutes, and I said, listen, if you have a moment, I would love to take some pictures with you, my guys, but there's one particular guy in my group that would absolutely love to meet you. So JJ don't even see it. I'm walking towards the table with Nick Melillo, and I go, hey, JJ, man, I want to introduce you to a buddy of mine. I don't know if you know Nick. Man, JJ's face was like
priceless.
I wish I would have videoed it. That's the only thing that I kicked myself in the butt for not videoing it. And so I want to get your take on that, JJ, when you saw Nick Melillo walking towards you in the table. What was going through your head?
well, at first, I was happier than a 3-peckered puppy. You know what? maybe 4 or 5. My biggest takeaway from meeting him is how humble he was. He's like, oh man, you're gonna make my head swell. I'm like, no. I watch just about everything you've ever been in. I follow everything you do. I love your cigars. And to say I was starstruck would be underplaying it. I figured he would be there, but I didn't know it was going to be like in that setting where he's just like, we all got in a big old picture and, we took it. And, I, of course, was lingering around his table because I wanted him to sign a box. And I got him to sign a box of Pasquales, and I'll probably never open that box.
Yeah.
And the crazy part, and you hit the nail on the head. The man is truly extremely humble.
Humble.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we've encountered some douches.
Yeah.
And I'm being very polite about it. Okay.
He's the proof that you don't have to be an a-hole to be successful in this business. He was the nicest guy. I mean, he sat and talked to me when he was signing my box about our podcast, about, hey, yeah, reach out to his assistant. He wants to come on. Whether he's just feeding me, it doesn't even matter. He was so nice. He signed my box. How do you want me to sign it? You want me to sign it to you or just sign it? Man, just whatever. And then, we'll get into Saturday, but yeah, it's just so cool, man, to see that you don't have to be a jackass to be successful.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, it's the thing is that he understood, our respect for him and his craft
Right.
enough for him to stay humble and be like, you know what, guys, I appreciate you. This is exactly what he told me. He goes, I appreciate you guys because
Right.
without you guys, I don't have a name, I don't have a business, right? And it's sad how we've encountered others in this industry that it's still even to now, it still baffles me that these guys, they get on their high horse and they can't even give you 5 minutes of their time, and I don't understand that, you know what I mean? Because, and I've said this, without us, you don't have a company. Without people like us that are enthusiasts and that actually love your cigars, like I'll probably never smoke another cigar with that person ever again. I'll be honest with you.
I won't.
And the sad part is that I absolutely love it, but I digress. Let's move on. I don't want to.
Good on it.
I'm starting to get. You can see me getting cranked up, right?
Mhm.
And the pandas started to finally feel better. But anyway, so PC, what did you get out of that with Nick Melillo? I mean,
Man, I'm gonna tell you, like we were sitting at the table, and we all took pictures, and then we kind of dispersed a little bit, and I realized that I could get me a couple. Well, I could have got a couple boxes, but I ended up getting one box. And I went over to get a box, and I go through the process, and all of a sudden Nick just walks up to me and put his hand on my shoulder and be like, "Man, how are you doing today? It's good to see you, man." And I'm like, I kind of got like JJ, like,
Yeah.
but then some say snap out of it, So just how inviting that he is, man. It's the fact that he knows everybody know who he is, and it doesn't go to his head, man. You can't beat that with a stick, brother. And then everybody else, man, that we dealt with was really cool in that environment, man. I mean, the brothers of the Leaf and the sisters
Met
was
Moxie.
just
We met Moxie that
Oh.
night.
yeah,
cigar prop, Kevin.
Oh, yeah,
Rob,
Kevin.
yeah, Kevin,
Kevin.
yeah.
I mean, Kevin was there. You know what I mean?
And he is cool as shit.
Yeah, he is cool.
The dude with no shirt.
And that's his MO. Just like that guy, that's his MO. Everyone knows. I forgot his name. He has a name.
Right.
But yeah, and that's him. And no one says nothing, right?
No.
Right.
But
You know what else struck me about Thursday and even Saturday too was, okay, so Terrence Riley was there first for the event, and then the second event was Nick Melillo the same night at the same place. You know what? I looked up at one time and Terrence and Nick were over there just chopping it up in the corner. These guys,
Yeah.
whether they're friends or they're friendly or whatever the case might be, it just I've already said, you don't have to be an a-hole. These guys were there to put on an event for us, and they did that. It was we had a couple of old fashions, we had a couple of pizzas, and smoked some good cigars, and just enjoyed ourselves, man. It was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you something else I took out of that too. I saw that a lot of these guys that like we look up to and we talk to, and like Nick Melillo and Terrence Raleigh, they love what they do. There is no, now what I see in Terrence Raleigh, there is no stop to this man. He goes until he can't go because he loves it just that much, and we know what type of guy he is. We know he's a family man and all that good stuff. And to be able to balance it and talk to us and talk to other people and have that energy just right, man, it's an experience within itself to see it.
was everybody just as equally surprised at how young Nick Melillo really is in person?
Yes, I said it to you when he first walked in. Panda told me, "Hey, there's Nick Melillo." I was like, "Where?" He was right there. I was like, "That's him." And it's like 28. I know he's not. I know he's probably a little older than that, but he's a young looking dude.
And what's crazy is when he was working for, was it Drew Estate? That was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Mid to late.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just. I think Drew Estate started. I want to say 94.
Mhm.
I should know this because I'm a Drew Estate fan, and I got a big carpet on the floor that says it somewhere around there. But
Established in
Yeah,
the 90s.
guys, because I want to talk about I kind of want to backtrack a little bit, right, before we get to Saturday. So Wednesday, okay, JJ and Don first got to Florida first, okay, and I took these guys to a place in Western Florida called Smoke on the Water. Now, if you've never been to Smoke on the Water, it's very casual, really cool, right, laid back, chill, kind of. I wouldn't say bougie, but it has some upscale.
Very laid back. Very laid back.
Right. We got to meet a couple of the reps that either from Espinosa or from Foundation, AJ, etc. And that humidor was pretty cool, right? I mean, that place has a lot of different smokes.
They do, yeah.
PC showed up Thursday, so before PC showed up, after Smoke on the Water, I took JJ and Don, because Don's been to my lounge to burn one, and it was night and day. But I'll let JJ explain it. So we left Smoke on the Water, and then we came to burn one. And you go ahead, JJ. What did you think about my lounge, man?
Well, first of all, if I could emulate that somehow and move it right across the street from my house, I would. Nobody knew me from Adam. They've seen me on the podcast, but still, I was greeted with either handshake and a hug.
Right.
Glad you're here. Nice to meet you. And then the shenanigans happens on those domino tables. I mean, you would think these guys hated each other by the way they talk, but it is pure love and respect, and you will never find anything quite like that. Oh, man. I know if I were to search the rest of my life, I could only find that one place, and that's Burn One. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. That's my home away from home, and like I tell people, I'm like part of the furniture, and it's a club that everyone, as you saw, everyone hugs and kisses each other.
Yeah.
There's no shame in my lounge. Everybody from the owner to the workers there to the patriots, all the customers, everyone knows everyone, and everyone greets everyone, and I'm so grateful to have a lounge like that. That I can enjoy on a daily, because it is hard to find something like that, and I've gone all over, and I've been, I don't know to how many lounges, and I've yet to find anything close to the lounge that I go to my home lounge. But and Don, I mean, this is why your second time. Well, actually, you've been there a couple of times, because the last time you went there a few times.
Right.
What did you get in the lounge?
Again, it was the same experience. That these guys talking smack at each other. Like Jay just said, if you walked in off the street, you'd think, man, these guys are about to scrap, and they're just talking smack, and they love each other. But what set with me this time, and it happened last time too, was JJ. How many people walked up and offered us either a drink or a cigar or whatever out of their own stash? Like they don't know us. They know we're there. They know we're there with Panda, and we're friends, and whatever. Excuse me, but just from Panda's best friend Ernie, that guy was like you just think you'd have thought he had some cigars that were about to spoil in his locker. Like, go in there and get one. Go get one. Go get one. But just beautiful people, beautiful environment. And that doesn't happen by accident. That doesn't happen by accident.
No, I don't.
And I can tell you, these guys invaded the Pandas lockers. Let me tell you something. Especially this guy up here. This one decides to go grab, I'm gonna say it, man. This man decides to go and grab my Opus, right?
No, wait.
Listen, hold on. Let me finish. So I told them, listen, whatever's there, y'all grab. Okay, you grab whatever it is that you want, right? I forgot about that Opus. And it wasn't even the fact that he grabbed the Opus. That Opus was actually gifted to me by my best friend Ernie, and that was actually during the Super Bowl. And I forgot all about it. And him and I were supposed to smoke it, and I never got to smoke it. So I told PC, listen, you can't grab that one, but I got another one at the crib. And when we get there, I'll make sure I give you my Opus at home. And that's exactly what I did. I gave him actually a better Opus than the one that he grabbed from my locker. But listen, they listen. Those who know me, I'm not shy of sharing what I have. What's
Nope.
mine is yours. As long as I know you're gonna enjoy it, go for it. You know, there's certain cigars like that opens, like I said, because it was gifted to me by my best friend, and
Yeah.
so I made sure that I gave him another opus just for the record and stuff like that. So, and it was actually the one that you grabbed was a Robusto. The one I gave you was almost a Churchill.
You're
So
right.
you made out big time. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And look here, man. If you would have put a note on it, do not smoke, I wouldn't have touched it because. No, but seriously though, man, I appreciate you clearing that up because I was about to get at you on it.
good. Tell him
But
about that other stick that you grabbed too.
oh
He ain't just grabbed one.
the Andalusian bull.
Listen, man, the Andalusian bull.
I was gonna get the Andalusian bull
So now you understand.
with no shame, no nothing.
Those cigars have been marinated for what, 2.5 years?
Oh.
And I think I only had maybe, I had like what, 5 left? 5. I
Five.
had, and I said had, and you figured the 3, and then so I probably got 1 or 2 left.
In the
Right.
plume.
But you gotta ask JJ. I said, man, I'm not sure if I want to take one, man. I said he only got 3 left. Man, I was,
No,
I was coming.
I could get those. That's the crazy part, right?
Yeah,
That those are not like those are one of the cigars that I know a lot of people have a hard time getting, but to me, my lounge they'll get probably like 6 boxes, and they never hit the shelf. They
Yeah.
never hit the shelf because they're already no people already bought them.
yeah,
And my
yeah.
guys, I've turned them down at least 2 or 3 times in the last rotation because I was like, listen, I like the Bulls, you know what I mean? But to me, it's not my go-to LFD, right? And it's not
Yeah.
like I'm in an area that I can't find them or I can't get them, you know what I mean? So I guess I don't appreciate them as much as others might, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. And
Mhm.
to me, like I said, it's a stick that I enjoy. It's on the lighter end, you know what I mean? And so I kind of like the stronger stick. So, excuse me.
Now, I just want to reiterate this, man. Everything that these guys have said about the lounges is right on point. Everything that Panda, says about, you know, he invites you to whatever he has in his lockers and stuff like that. Even though he may have 5 or 6 lockers in one spot, I don't know how you do that. It is true, and I'm gonna tell you this. You come out, Ernie's your best friend. I'm gonna tell you, I love Ernie, man.
Mhm.
I want to give a special shout out to Ernie, dude. Ernie, you my guy, man. I can't wait to come back to see you, brother.
Yes.
I got something for you.
That's my dog, man.
And
Yeah,
I love everybody in the shop, man. I love it, dude.
yeah. All right. So Friday was kind of a free day. We went down south. We met with my sister.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So
Let me tell you something. The apple does not fall far from the tree.
Nope.
yeah, you gotta say I told you guys, my sister grew up in a house full of boys, and she definitely runs her household. You know what I mean? And I love my sister. That's my do or die there, man. My sister is my do or die. I love that girl with all my heart and my soul, man. And yeah, the apple does not fall far. You know what I mean? That one, she's a tough cookie. She could definitely crack some jokes because she's got some jokes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, we went out there, ate some Puerto Rican food, and introduced these guys to some new especially JJ.
Mhm.
JJ got to get some more red beans and some other stuff. What did you end up eating, JJ? I don't know.
It was a marinated pork in vinegar and onions.
Oh, that's right. La masa puerco. Basically pork chunks, right? It was like those, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Don, what did you end up having?
I had that same thing that you guys had, the traditional.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what we call the típico, which is arroz con gandules, pernil, and pasteles.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and what struck with me on that meal, and I can't go any further without shouting out your wife for hosting us clowns for a week.
Yes.
or most of a week, and when I tell you that Panda's wife can get in there and mix it up with all of us, but you can tell the relationship that your wife and your sister have by
It's
that,
genuine, bro.
just by that meal that we had, because they were teaming up against us, we were teaming up. It really was a heartwarming week. I've met your wife before. Obviously, I was down there once before, but this week kind of hanging out and just salt of the earth person. I know you know that you get to spend every day with her, but just shout out from me and the guys for hosting us clowns, man.
Absolutely.
It was our pleasure having you guys here. Made you guys my ball ribs.
Yeah,
They're one.
Right.
Yeah.
they're all right.
Yeah, you're all right.
Right. Nah.
I just need to know what a couple of them herbs and spices is, but
So,
Yeah.
so like I said, Friday was a free day. What else did we do on Friday?
So we went to the first place we went to was we went to the Hard Rock.
Oh, that's right. Oh my Lord, I forgot all about that. Yeah, we did go to the Hard Rock. And went to the lounge. We went to the
The Davidoff.
Davidoff Lounge. I forgot all about that.
The Donadon.
That's right. Talking
I
about
know.
that, JJ had his first Davidoff at the Davidoff Lounge at the Hard Rock. Man, how the heck did I forget that?
dude, how often does the Mutt smoke a Davidoff at a Davidoff of Geneva lounge? Dude, hell of an experience, and that's a hell of a cigar.
And JJ went with my favorite Davidoff, the Nicaragua.
It's a great stick.
And it has to be mentioned, I did not PC myself at the Davidoff. And if you don't know what PC is, we're gonna let Panda explain it to you.
Well, listen, this is one thing. This is one thing that PC and Ernie have in common. Okay, you could tell where they've sat, where they're sitting, where they're standing, where they're hanging out, because there's ashtrays all over the lounges. But why use an ashtray when you can use your shirt, your pants, the floor, the chair? You know what I mean? So,
But I do have to say, one of us did PC ourselves at the Davidoff Lounge, and it wasn't PC.
who's that?
It was the other
What?
PC.
You?
What?
No, it was you. You dropped your ass all over the place. That lady had to come clean it up.
Uh-huh.
What are you talking about?
You apologize. So, oh man, I feel sorry for you.
I wasn't smoking in Pete's truck 15 minutes and already PC'd his truck.
Dude, that is so true. That is so true, man. That was so funny. Man, but yeah. So and yeah, that's right. We went to the Hard Rock, and then did Friday night did we end up going to Stogie's?
Yes.
Well, we went to your lounge first. We went and played poker.
Right.
That was Wednesday though. That was Wednesday.
No, that was Friday night.
Friday? Was
We
it?
went back Friday night. Yeah, because PC was
Yeah,
with us Friday night.
Yeah,
Oh,
Friday. Yeah.
damn, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
We went and played some poker.
Hey, you guys was up big on them tables, man.
I won. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I won.
I didn't.
But I like Stogie's too. His name's what? Raphael?
Rafael.
Dude, he's a cool dude.
We got
Great
to meet
dude.
Anya. We got to meet
We got
Anya
to see Anya
Ramirez.
Ramirez.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
And Anya's doing a lot of good things for Stogie's there. She's I don't want to say that she's elevated, but she's definitely enhanced Stogie's in a sense with her knowledge, her know-how, and her knowledge in the industry as a whole is a massive plus for that lounge.
Yeah.
I'll tell you too, the contrast between Burn One and Stogie's, they couldn't be more opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Burn One's this big open area. Everybody's yelling, screaming. Everybody's having a great time. Stogie's is a much smaller place, but you can tell they had their people there that are super comfortable there, and they were just as inviting to us when we walked in.
Right.
And then I don't know if it was luck of the draw, or I don't know if you texted him or what, but the owner Raphael showed up, about halfway through our stay there, and we got to chop it up with him, and just a super guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, no, I didn't. I think what he did, I think he probably looked at the cameras.
Oh,
And the thing about it, man, he's so inviting. When he walked through the door, you can feel his energy, and it never goes down. He's just you can tell he's that guy that keeps a positive attitude about what he does. He's very confident in what he's doing, and he makes sure everybody's comfortable in the lounge. And he listens to you. You know, if you have an idea about something, he's open to listening and not shun it off. And you know, like you can go to some lounges where you might make a suggestion, they'll be like, "Yeah, okay, all right, good," you know. But he's not
Well,
that guy, you know.
for me, it was interesting to hear the perspective of a small shop owner with a somewhat small humidor, and the
Mhm.
choices he has to make because he only has so much shelf space in that humidor, and the
Right,
choices that he has to make, and he's trying to keep what's new, what's coming out and what's new in there, but also he has to keep in there what sells, and
right,
there's got to be a delicate balance in that, and
Mhm.
we obviously talked about JJ's venture with Big Sky, and he was like, yeah, man, let's talk. So hopefully that
yeah,
comes to fruition at some point, but just seeing that dance that they kind of have to do to keep relevant, but also keep the sales going, keep the so.
I mean, I would assume. I mean, like I said, I'm not a store owner, but I mean, obviously, I've been around the industry long enough. But I think the hardest part as a business owner, especially in the cigar world, is to tell somebody no. You
mhm,
know, and even if they do have a great product, and it's exactly what you said, is the shelf space, right? And if everything on my shelves right now is selling, it's kind of
How that
like,
changed.
right? What am I gonna do? Or who am I gonna move over or discontinue to try something new? You know what I mean? And that's a hard balance. You know, it really is, and especially like Rob, that his humidor is not big, but he has a decent selection. You know what I mean? He
Mhm.
mhm.
has a decent selection,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, I don't know if I told you, I helped him get the Espinosa in there. You know, I
Well,
linked him over with Eric.
I think JJ, you and I smoked this one, or PC, you and I we
Yeah, me
smoked
and you,
Yeah,
the Supreme Leaf. Yeah.
dude. And
yeah.
that thing, that cello, those are well aged cigars,
Yes, sir.
dude. Great cigar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And the thing is, I like that he was looking, forward at what he's trying to do with the lounge, and he has so much space. And I really wanted to. I just wasn't just wasn't myself to just do the things that I would do here. I was just kind of sitting back and looking at how things flow in Florida, and I wanted to see the private lounge there. I really did. You can see it from the outside through the window, but I really wanted to check that out. And normally I would ask, "Hey, man, can we take a look
I
at it?"
dropped the ball on that one because I would have asked him, and he would have been more than happy to show it to us. You know?
Right.
Um, but yeah, definitely next time you guys come down, we'll definitely go in there, and
Yeah.
things might be different. You know what I mean? Because he kind of shared with us what he's kind of
Yeah,
doing now.
you want to cut out some walls well, the funny part about that is we left burn one probably 9 o'clock, 9:30, something like that. 10
No,
o'clock.
it
I
was
don't know.
later than that because it
Yeah.
was almost 11, and you guys thought I was taking you guys home. I'm like, we ain't
That's right.
going home yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Pete made a turn. I said, "Hey, this ain't the way to your house." He goes, "Yeah, that's funny. I'm not going to my house."
I'm like, what the hell? Y'all ain't come here to go to bed early. What kind of crap is that? You know?
Like we're not going home, Mitches.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mitches.
So now the big day, Saturday.
Oof.
All right. So we get there around what? 10, quarter 10, something like that.
Something like that.
Something in that range. Yep.
You know, and we start walking around, and we start seeing people that we kind of recognize from social media.
Right.
And the one thing that I learned from last year was that if you don't get in line early enough, you will, even though you got a VIP ticket, there ain't no guarantees per se. You know what I mean?
No, because the line don't get long; it gets wide.
Yes. And mind you, so it started with just like 2 lines, right, per se, right?
Right.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the time, so those of us who purchase the VIP, you get to go in an hour early.
Right.
So, and there's only X amount of VIP tickets that they sell. So next, it went from like a line of 2 to like a line of 7. And it was just crazy, And finally, when they opened up the doors, man, oh my Lord, everyone just bum rushed it, and everyone's beelining to the VIP section to go grab their tables. Now, a lot of those tables already have reserves on them. You know what I mean? So you got to find the ones that don't have nothing reserved on it. So I knew from last year and years past, you want something all the way towards the back, almost where that door, where we were at. So you get some type of a breeze because it gets smoky.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And the Panda was, like I said, the Panda was under the weather. The Panda was getting sick, and I was like, man, it's funny because the hour that we got in first, we got to do a lot, right? We got to speak to a lot of people, we got to speak to Matt Booth, Pete Johnson, right? Terrence Riley again, Nick Perdomo, right? Nick Melillo, Eric Espinoza, and the list goes on.
Nick Perdomo, yeah.
Right? The list goes on and on. So, like I said, I've been through this already, so many times. I want to kind of get your take, and you guys tell me, what was the best part that you guys enjoyed, and who did you enjoy meeting for the first time? I'll go with you, PC.
Man, when we first went to the floor after we set everything up at our table, we got a chance to walk around. We saw all these faces that you just named, and I think the first person we saw Pete Johnson, but he was in a conversation. But then we saw the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Booth, and baby, and the face. Even though we talked to him over, FaceTime, podcast, or whatever you want to call it, he recognized this man, and we had a great time. He laughed and joked with us, man. And like you say, he has certain conversation and personalities for wherever he meets you at. And he was just so inviting, man. It was cool as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was glad to talk to the guy.
And Matt Booth is special, boy.
Yeah, so
special.
guy.
That man could talk to you about the most craziest stuff.
Oh, of course.
But I guess, you know what? I think that's him. I've heard stories about that. That's really him because he's kind of an odd duck per se.
right.
He's an odd duck, but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Because we enjoy that stuff, right?
He's eccentric.
He's very eccentric. A very good word. Yeah, absolutely. And
the thing about it, we talk about the mother loader story. He had somebody there to back him up on the mother loader story. And that was the funniest thing to me. I had to compose myself, to be honest with you. But Don, what say you?
It was great. Yeah.
So for me, it was as a whole, it was so warming for me to know that these guys recognized us, and it wasn't fake. It wasn't like, oh yeah. I remember. It was like, hey, my guys, and mind you, these guys probably get asked to do podcasts all the time. They probably go on these podcasts, but the fact that we got recognized and the one that stuck with me was, Nick Perdomo asked us to come back behind the table, take a picture, and he mentioned, oh, by the way, guys, I got the T-shirts, man. Thank you so much. That was so cool, and for me, to this day, I think Matt Booth was the funniest interview we had, and it was a great time. But to me, the most interesting dude that we talked to was Pete Johnson, and when we went up to talk to Pete, I mentioned that I had smoked. I'm not going to say which one because I don't think he wants the story out there, but I mentioned a cigar that I smoked, and he was like, yeah, that person's a pain in the ass, and I was like, oh my god, like that's real. That's just real, and it was just. Talking to him and just not very often. I know these are all just regular people. Like we're putting them up on this pedestal because we love this industry and we love this lifestyle. We put them up on this pedestal because they're making great products, but they're real people. And just sit and have a conversation with a real person was so heartwarming to me. And every one of them, ones that we talked to, Eric Espinosa, he had to be on a plane in like an hour and a half,
Yeah.
trying to talk to us and go on stage and do an interview and be there because he knew that being there was what he needed to do to be with the people who were supporting him, and that means something to me. That means something to me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. He had to fly out to Ohio.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, and the
he
guy
made
had-
it. I saw some photos. So
He's
what
so-
says you, JJ?
Well, and I think it's crazy how canny and how sly of hand Espinosa is. He slid those stogies down in your pocket.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
the hell?
he slipped a Murcielago and a 601 Blue into my pants. That doesn't
Nope.
sound right. Into my pants, my pocket.
Pause.
So, yeah, Eric. But you know what, man? But Eric's my boy. But you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
And I've known Eric. I don't know how many years now. You know, and he, you know, he is that down to earth guy. He's
Yeah.
gonna tell you how it is. But you know, he's. Can he be an a-hole? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? I'm sure he could, and I've seen it, but there's never not a reason behind it, right?
Right. Right.
You know, and it's never in this atmosphere. It's always on more on a personal. You know what I mean? Because he's all about his family, and we got to meet Eric Jr. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and so, and that's why he does it. He does it for his family. You know what I mean? And when you start questioning certain things, especially when it comes to his family, those stand clear. You know what I mean? Stand clear, and you better be prepared to answer for it because he's not that one to tell someone to tell you. That man's gonna go look for you and find you and be like, come knocking on your door. And you gotta respect a guy like that because that's what I do. That's what I would do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know, Nick Melillo recognized us immediately again on Saturday. You know, how many pictures did we take with him again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
man.
even asked, why haven't we taken a picture yet? You're like,
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
and for me, Nick Perdomo, you know, he's more reserved maybe than the other guys. He's not Matt Booth, who's going to tell you crazy stories. He's not Pete Johnson, who used to be a rock and roll star. He's not Eric Espinosa, who's sitting there during a hurricane doing a podcast with us. He's not that guy. But
Mhm.
but he's much more. But the fact that hey, thank you for the T-shirt. Come on back here. Let's get a good picture. We you know, with their booth wall. It's really heartwarming to me and that's what makes me. You know, look, you got to have a good product. Don't get me wrong. You got to have a good product. But the person the person that we've mentioned here has good products, but I won't do it because he didn't speak to me. You know, Nick Perdomo and Pete Johnson and Matt Booth and Eric Espinosa and Terrence Riley and Belkis at the Rocky table and all those guys took time to come out and be personable to us.
Mhm.
And that's what brings me to their booths. That's
And they
what
all
brings me
remember
to
this.
the
And
cigar.
we haven't talked to Belkis in almost a year, or Miguel when we went
Right.
to the Roundheads table.
Yeah.
You know, she was nice enough to talk to us. She gifted us those emeralds with very nice gesture. You know,
Most definitely.
it's hard for me to really pinpoint my favorite part. You know, just being there with my guys was my favorite part. You know, everything
Yeah.
else was just additional. But I would say just, you know, knowing that a lot of us got to meet the guys that we really looked up to, you know, and the first time for me on a lot of them. You know, I was kind of starstruck with Nick Perdomo, but you know, after I seen Booth and Johnson and Melillo, I'm like, I can die now. You know what I mean? But it was just the overall atmosphere was just awesome. And
I'll tell you that hour beforehand for doing what we do, that hour beforehand was crucial.
Mhm.
Because
It was. It was.
I'm sure you're going to get on this. When that hour kicked in and those doors opened, Katie barred the door.
Dude, the
Katie
flood.
barred the door.
And that's the whole thing. And honestly, that's to me the only perk of purchasing the VIP. You know what I mean? Because, like I said before, I told you guys before, was the process was they would give you tickets and you go to each booth and they would give you a stick and you get a few seconds to talk with them. You know what I mean? Because the line was just going. And when the general admission came in, forget it. It was just a nightmare. So this way, it's a little bit more personable. You're able to spend a little bit more time talking to these guys.
Right.
So I kind of enjoyed that. They also allow to sell their product. Which they sold boxes like crazy. I truly enjoyed our interview with Nick Perdomo. Nick definitely brings a different form of sophistication to the industry.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Great word. Yes.
And I kind of respect that, because he seems to be want to be more on the serious side.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Because to me he was personable. We were able to respect his timeline, and I think he respected that, and he also respected us that we didn't ask him for anything when we invited him to our podcast. Nor will we ever.
No.
That's just not who we are.
Yeah.
We're not trying to get. We want to have you as our guest. You know what I mean? We're not asking. We don't want nothing from you guys. We got to support.
I'll add on to that night. We gave away cigars that night that we didn't ask him. We bought those, and I think that means something to. We're not trying to get something out of this,
Right.
Other than the enjoyment of what we do, and I think
Well,
that.
I'll give you another experience that we had, and you guys touched on it. But when we went to the Perdomo booth, his wife was there, Nick was there, his brother was there, Billy, his son was there, and that was to see the family, how family oriented they are, and running this business and everything. I'm telling you, to put names and faces with people that you didn't think you were going. And Mrs. Perdomo was just as graceful, and I mean, she she did the most for us, doing the podcast, and I thanked her for that. You know what I mean? Because it's important. It's important that we recognize everybody that's got a hand in trying to help us get to where we're going.
And that note, Billy Perdomo was the one that hooked us up with it. So good shout out to Billy Perdomo on that
Yeah.
one. We appreciate it.
I was happy to meet him.
We forgot Friday. We went to Neptune's to the Perdomo event and hung out with Billy for a little while.
Yeah, Billy's good people. I enjoyed Billy.
Yeah, I like Billy a lot, man.
Once again, the panda goes in there to buy one cigar, leaves with $152. I don't, listen, and you guys saw my stash. You guys got to see, and I really do not need to buy any more cigars, man. I don't. The wife she slipped it out. She's buying me a cabinet for my birthday.
Nice.
And
Nice.
she spoke to one of the owners from the shop, and I guess they're gonna work something out. Because I hate to say it, but I need a bigger damn humidor, because I have way too. I don't have room. Don came and brought me a Ziploc full of cigars, and I have no room. They've been sitting on top of my humidor, you know what I mean? And this one, was one of them, and I could tell that they need to be inside the humidor, because it's a little hard on the drag,
Right.
So I definitely need to reorganize my humidors.
Not only that, you got cigars in nightstand tables and curio cabinets, and
And not to
You got me
mention
putting my business out there like Don.
that CAO humidor is absolutely beautiful.
It is.
That is a beautiful humidor.
Yeah, I got that from my best friend Ernie. Ernie gave me that. He gifted that to me.
But I want to hear JJ's take on the swag that we got, because JJ is a swag guy.
Dude,
And JJ, man, please talk about the swag, please.
well, this right here. Say we've seen him on social media. Me and PC and myself went to the cigar porn table, and lo and behold, and I already put it on my ashtray, and it's in the dang kitchen. But they're cigar porn ashtray condoms, dude. But talk about as crazy as it sounds, that's not a half bad idea.
Right.
I mean, because you don't know where people's mouths has been. They probably haven't brushed their teeth since '76. You don't know that. You don't want all that gingivitis all over your, hard-earned cigar.
Oh my god, dude!
But even the swag we got from the Great Smoke, it's, what was this for again?
It's a cigar holder.
Is it a cigar holder? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a little cigar pouch.
But dude, yeah, ashtray's great. The hat was great. The little perfect cut. Lord knows, I don't need any more of those. But it's a beautiful, beautiful little cutter.
That's right. The lighter.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
That's another thing. I haven't even taken those cigars out of that box. I have no damn room.
I had to throw the box away.
Hey,
airline-
just put your buffer in there, baby.
It's
Like-
crazy.
When I got into Tulsa, we had to come back 2.5 hours later because my bag did not make it on my plane.
Oh,
I had to wait
Oh,
for
crap.
the plane that came from Charlotte had my shit on it. I don't know how or why, but I had to wait over 2 hours to get my bag in that box. I wanted to keep just take the cigars out and just keep the box with everything in it and put it on the shelf behind me, but that box was destroyed. But this
Really?
made it okay. How does that happen? My Black Label poster that was signed by Derek,
Yeah.
that made it okay. A little
Awesome.
crease here and there, but
Another person we met that was a super gracious dude.
Mhm.
and I already got him locked in.
That's what's up.
it's
telling
good.
And he's awesome. He's like, I know you've been, emailing Angela, but he said, email me directly. Gave me his email right then and there. But what I thought was cool, he's like, I've heard of you guys.
Mm.
I'm like, dude.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, I've emailed, your HR lady a few times. And he's like, just email me. And gave me his direct link and direct email. And I was like, consider it done.
Nice. 2025, guys. We still got to get a hold of Nick. We got to get Nick. He told me after April. He said after April is the best time.
So,
Oh,
Yeah.
Ben, we got to talk about when you and I went outside. So you guys know, we got a box that was probably, this big for the swag and all the cigars that we got. We got this big box, and so we had this stuff all over the table. And at one point, so we got in, we did all of our thing. We took pictures with everybody we want to take pictures with. And then at some point, Panda and I said, all right, let's take all this stuff to the truck so we can have some table space, that we can have some drinks and we can have some food and do whatever. So Panda and I walked out to the car. We may or may not have slipped a few cards on some cars, and, but when we were walking back towards the venue, man, if you didn't know that there was a cigar smoking event at that venue, the smoke was just rolling out of the doors. You'd have thought that place was on fire.
Yeah.
Like it was like, Ben and I looked at it like, holy crap. Like this is, imagine 2,000, 2,500 people, however many people were in there. Everybody had a cigar in their hand. Everybody, the smoke in there was just unbelievable that was rolling out of those doors. And I can't, we got to mention, we saw Cammie and her group there.
Yeah.
Stick Society.
And we were going to peek behind the curtain. We were going to do a wrap up last week, but Typhoid Marvin down there got us, we were all under the weather a little bit. So, so we had to cancel last week, but we're definitely going to have Cammie on to go over what,
Yes.
all that stuff. What a beautiful person she is.
Yes.
We talked about, matter of fact, we met up with her Thursday night too at the Great Smoke. I mean, at the at Smoke Inn, and just a beautiful person. We saw Anya there. We saw just. I don't know that it could have gone any better for me.
No.
Right.
That day.
Maybe, Nick Melillo gave me like one of his shoes or something. That would have been kids, but,
Oh my Lord, boy. I'm trying to think.
Hey, but the thing is, JJ got a chance to meet Jeff Gruger. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool.
he's a hell of a dude. He's a pimp.
Jeff is a pig.
The way he holds himself, the way he talked, he's just cool.
We got to get him on. I told him I dropped the ball on that last year. Because after the Rocky Mountain, everything kind of just went south for everyone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we definitely got to get Jeff on. And Jeff is one of those. Jeff's a rep, but Jeff, who don't know Jeff, you know what I mean? And I've said this a bunch of times. Jeff is that guy that if we ever had that cigar, we ever came up, I will beg that man to rep for us.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'll say this, Panda, you told him that to his face that day, and I heard you say it to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, ah, come on, man. I'm just a dude that
No.
but you can tell the passion that and seeing Belkis there. We saw Belkis when we were in Tampa. She was kind of the first person we kind of met.
She was previously with another company.
Right, but
Right.
she was kind of the first person we met, and our schedules just never lined up as far as getting her on. And we saw her; she was with a different company, and again, she was like, "Yeah, let's set something up for the new year. Let's get on." And another person, Nish Patel. I met Nish.
Yeah.
Super gracious guy.
Yeah.
Took a picture with me.
Yeah, that was really cool at the same time because you got a chance to, take a picture with him and send it to your pal back home.
Right.
And then the amount of people that traveled in from Houston was amazing, man. That was amazing,
Mhm.
And I'll say this. If you haven't been to one of these events, it was the first big event that I've been to. You need to try to make it to at least one. And I guarantee you're going to be looking for them all over your city and other surrounding cities that, in states and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because you will never forget it. You never meet more friendly people in that environment anywhere else that I know of,
Yeah.
So
It's
I
what-
tell you guys, next year's gonna be huge. Next
The
year's gonna be
20.
huge. They race 20 years.
yeah. Oh,
in
And
3
that's
weeks.
gonna be a hard because I know. I mean, listen. You guys know the issues that we had this year to get those tickets back in. And I'm hoping that they get that rectified before next year because if they thought they had issues, for this event, next event, I can only imagine how big it's gonna be.
Mhm.
So and I told you guys, if it wasn't for you guys, I wasn't gonna go to any more of them because I've been to so many of them. My goal was to just go to other venues, but I definitely want to go to the 20th now.
How about
Right.
all the people that dressed up for it?
Oh,
Yeah, dude.
I mean, for the Renaissance, and also the ladies soccer team that did all the serving and stuff, and those ladies were on point, man. Those ladies,
Yes.
you were finishing, you were taking the last sip of your drink, and they're like, "What can I get you? What you need? What you need?"
Your cup never went dry.
no.
Oh, it was just a great time. Like I said, I couldn't have got any more out of it if I would have said, if I'd have run a list and said, "What do I want to get out of this?" I couldn't have got
Speaking
more out
of
of it.
dressed up, that's the prop.
There you
There
go.
it goes.
And that event blew my mind. In 3 weeks I go to PCA. Then 2 weeks after that, I'm gonna try to go to Smokelahoma. That's in Oklahoma City.
Nice.
Right.
But PCA, that's not leisure, that's work. But I'm meeting David Garofalo. I don't care. I'm gonna be
Right.
I'm meeting him and all his crew, and I'm shaking their hands and I'm getting pictures.
Yeah.
I know that for sure.
Nice. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, we need to get a T-shirt in Davis' hand.
Mhm. Yeah, we do. You got to find out the size. So I'll send it. Well, now you got to find out the size like ASAP, JJ.
Yeah, I'll just message him.
Yeah,
He's
because then I can mail that out to you as soon as possible. Because PCA is what, April
11 through the 14th.
14. Yeah, so so that means ASAP, and I'll do it overnight.
And JJ, I'm just gonna say this in front of the world. You're in this now, man. You got this. Like
Yeah.
no more of the shy. You got this, man. You're
Yeah.
good at what you do. You met the people you wanted to meet. You're in this now, man. Go there and make the connections you need to make, man. Because you got this. You're that good at this, man. So,
Thank you.
Mhm. And you know your stuff. You know your stuff, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's another hour. But before we leave, I want to give a thanks out to my boys at Burn One.
Absolutely.
So roll that beautiful bean footage when you get that chance, JJ.
1, 2,
2, 3, boom.
What's going on, guys? This is your boy Panda, and your boy Panda has some great news. We have teamed up with Burn One Cigar Bar, located at 7328 Royal Palm Boulevard in Margate, Florida. Guys, Burn One Cigar Bar is your go-to destination for the finest selections of premium cigars at unbeatable prices. Step into a world of luxury and relaxation as you indulge in the smooth flavors and exquisite aromas of our carefully curated cigars collection. But that's not all. Burn One Cigar Bar has teamed up with us for an exclusive sponsorship opportunity just for you. When you call Burn One and purchase any box of cigars, you unlock a fantastic discount of 20% of your order using special discount code PANDA. You can contact Burn One at 954-970-0001 or on their social media pages, Facebook and or Instagram. Guys, don't miss this chance to elevate your cigar experience without breaking the bank. Visit Burn One Cigar Bar today, mention discount code PANDA, and treat yourself to premium cigars at incredible value. Hurry up, this offer won't last. Burn One Cigar Bar, where luxury meets affordability, and they ship nationwide. Peace.
And for those, these guys got to experience those special curated cigars. Okay?
And let me tell you what, the amount of Elwood Wednesday they had there is ridiculous.
Yes, sir.
I also got to give a shout out to the Korean place next door for the wings that they sent over that day. Oh my God, they were good.
Vietnamese.
Now, Vietnamese. Let me tell you something. I was hungry, so I might be biased, but my goodness, they were good.
Yeah, those wings are good. And they got one hell of they have a pork chop there will blow your mind there too. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I could eat pork chops till I threw up.
Oh, I'm telling you, dude, let me tell you, these are so damn good. Well, guys,
and shout out to Sal and Paulo, right? Sal and Paulo for and one of their sons works there as well. It was
Italo,
just so gracious to three outsiders that came in and you know kind of invaded for 3 days and you know did our thing and just you know hats off to you guys.
Yeah.
And I want to drop this, you know, from the three of us, man, to you and your wife, man.
Absolutely.
Man, thank you for the hospitality. I'm telling you, I got great friends that I've spent great time. Your hospitality is right up there with them. And dude, man, just let the missus know that, you know, I hope when you guys come here, I hope I can return the same hospitality that you showed us. That was top notch, man. I
Oh,
promise you.
We appreciate it.
And if and when my wife decides to kick me out, where'd you get that an air mattress at? That thing was luxury.
Do that, dude. Let me tell you something. That I was kind of worried, man, because I got that from Whatnot at the auction,
Dude.
Oh wow.
and the crazy part, you know, Jen was like, "Hey, babe, have you even tried to inflate that yet to see if it's?" I'm like, you know what? I have it. I go, let me go get that. Let me blow that bad boy up to make sure it still works. But it was
The
good.
headboard.
Had a headboard and everything on that bad boy.
That thing was very comfortable.
Man. Well, listen, I'm glad you guys enjoyed yourself at the Panda Shop. We got to smoke in the backyard for a little bit.
We did, yeah.
Them Davidoff.
The night light, right? Dark, beautiful sky. It was a beautiful.
It was a great week. The weather was perfect. The atmosphere was perfect. The events were perfect. It was we all suffered a bit afterwards, you know, with the little cold we got, but you know it's all good, man. I told Panda was very like, oh, I'm so sorry, I got you. I would do it 100 times over to experience that again. Just seriously, and I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here. I would take whatever that crud I got, you know, whatever for what we got to experience that week. I left Houston with like 24 cigars, and I came home with 104. I mean,
you got a problem, bro.
I got a problem. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys, it was our pleasure to host you guys. We actually loved you guys here. You know, I mean, and obviously, hopefully this is one of many. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That we get to experience together, and see what the future holds for us, right? And see what
I wouldn't want
happens.
to do it with anybody else.
I agree 100%. Like I said, today's the first day the Pandas smoked in over a week. Not bad, you know what I mean? The Panda, it was sick as a dog, double ear infection, all sorts of crud. I mean, the Panda was hurting bad.
Dude, and you
And
had like
I'm still trying, I'm still recovering, but I feel 100 times better. Got kicked out of the office on Friday, but other than that, got other things done that we need to get done. But guys, once again, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. We're still trying to get to 500, and we still got a bunch of stuff that we want to give away on our swag as appreciation. You guys joining our crew and our family. And if you see or you know anything that you want us to talk about, shoot us a message to either one of us. We're more than happy to talk to you about it. If you guys want to join us on a Sip and Smoke, let us know. We'll be more than happy to invite you guys on. But until the next time, we'll catch you later. Peace.